100 billion facility with the Green Climate Fund.
In the jurisdiction of the quest for the last governorship election for Osun State as the candidate of the People's Democratic Party, PDP. 75 political parties, excluding the main opposition party, the People's Democratic Party, PDP, yesterday for Abuja, don't pass a confidence vote on the national chairman of the Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, Professor Mahmood Yakubu, as I said, the 2019 general election meets the expectation of majority of Nigerians. However, some chairmen of the parties will talk for the two-day roundtable, we end yesterday for the International Conference Center, don't blame operatives of security agencies, particularly the military and the police, for whatever shortcomings will been happen during the election. Tubosun Akeju don't talk his own for this matter.
The political parties have a right to pass the vote of confidence if they think it's worth it. But going by what we know in Nigeria, sometimes we know what this is. However, one thing that I've remained an advocate of is active citizenship. I think that it is one of the major ingredients that can help us to achieve and that can help deliver, the dividends of democracy in Nigeria. So if 75 political parties, and they said more than this during their meeting with INEC, they did request for President Buhari to sign the new electoral bill, and they did make some other requests like collation census in states and all of that. It's important for us to even start to prepare for the next 4 years because, the saying goes, the best time to plant a tree is 20 years ago. The next best time is right now. So if we're going to continue to have the development that we desire in our electoral process, then this active engagement will have to continue. What's very important is the sincerity. So the problem is not 75 political parties passing the vote, is they sincerely passing a vote of confidence. Have they seen things that are empirical to say this is the reason why we're passing the vote of confidence? I think that's the important thing there. Okay. I don't think that we should be having a blame game right here. The first thing that we should be thinking of, why do we even have the military on the streets during our elections? That's a major recipe for voter apathy. I don't want to be on the street and then see mean-looking men trying to, you're already telling me that you think there's going to be a problem, So I don't think that is a time to blame game. I think what is, again, very important is to ensure that we put things in place that does not require the military to be on the street. Being on standby is important. The funny thing, in Nigeria, we usually know where trouble can come from. We know. It's all you just need to do is put your ears to the ground. We know the places that are volatile places. We know who is. Sometimes we even know the person that is causing the trouble. What we might not have is enough evidence to pinpoint. So sometimes we don't also. So the use of military at some point is to scare people off in terms of those who can foment trouble, to scare them off. But I think we need to get to a place where we don't have to put the military on. And that's what we should be working towards, not the blame game.
The taxpayer roll of the country will soon hit 45 million. Then disclosed this one for Abuja on Monday by the Executive Secretary of the Joint Tax Board, JTB, Oseni Elama. He talked this one while he represents a report on the new taxpayer identification number 10 registration system to the Executive Chairman of the Federal Inland Revenue Service, FIRS, Mr. Tunde Fowler. He said the cause of the increase now the collaborative efforts between the FIRS and the State Internal Revenue Services, SIRS, and said the synergy will help increase number of individual and corporate taxpayers. Public Affairs Analyst Tubosun Akeju don't choke him out for the matter.
Again, another very interesting news. A few weeks ago, we had the news about, even though it has, been denied, about the attempt to increase tax rate. And, the first thing everybody was saying, increase the tax net. That's the first thing I think we need to do. We need to get more people into the tax net. I think the next thing is the ease of paying tax. Nigeria is arguably one of the, as at end of 2017, beginning of 2018, there was a report that Nigeria is the 7th or 9th most difficult country to pay tax to. So if I was willing to pay tax today, the stress I'm going to go through to, pay tax will most likely, discourage me from paying. So it's a welcome development that we are dragging more people into the tax net. very, very interesting. But let's take it a step further. Let's make it easier for people to pay, you know, their taxes and all of that. And then, you know, I think that would also, what it means is that we'll have enough money, you know, to execute the projects we have.
Well, you know, the issue that as people sometimes have with regards to paying tax, you know, they don't feel that the government is doing enough to utilize the tax, so why should they pay in the first instance?
To make it right. And I think that one of the ways that we're going to become very active is when you have skin in the game. If you look at the states in Nigeria, Lagosians seem to be the most vocal part of Nigeria about what government is doing. And I think one of the reasons is because Lagosians know that they are paying a lot of taxes. So the demand on the government in Lagos is higher than other parts. Yes, and so I think that if you have skin in the game, you're paying taxes, you're going to start making certain demands. You're not going to wish a lot of things away and all of that. But, you know, I recognize that that problem is there, but I think that two wrongs don't make it right. If you pay taxes, you know, we should do it, and then perhaps we'll also become more active.
The Nigerian Financial Intelligence Unit, NFIU, don't set to boost local government's financial autonomy. The agency yesterday don't ban banks, governors, financial institutions, public officers, and other stakeholders from tampering with the statutory allocations of local government areas from the Federation accounts. Them say anybody will no agree here, both individuals and companies go face international and local sanctions. Public affairs analyst Tubosu Akedru follow us Ian on this one.
I think it's a very great and welcome development, you know, to be able to allow the local government have the financial autonomy that they're supposed to have. I don't think it's a completely new rule. I think it has always been in the Constitution. I think it's the implementation that has not really been done. My fear about this, again, is if the NFIU will be able to get the political will behind them to be able to fully execute this, because this particular development is going to take a substantial amount of the revenue that the state governors usually have access to, and it's going to, like, you know, actually dilute some of their political powers. They're not going to sit pretty and just watch it happen. They're going to push, you know, for it. So they're going to either push through a constitutional loophole, or they're going to use political willpower to make sure it's not executed. But whatever happens, I think that the people of Nigeria, you know, we the citizens must become active citizens and make sure that things like this, you know, are fully implemented, because these are the things that will help strengthen our democracy and ensure that the dividends of democracy is delivered to the people of Nigeria. So it's a very interesting story right there. So the EFCC is economic financial crime. Okay. So if it has not been, if you don't have a case to prosecute, then you really can't go ahead. As a matter of fact, most of the EFCC cases are usually triggered by petition. The NFIU is actually like a control unit. So they are like a safeguard to say that this is the right thing to do. They can, you know, they are the agency that is responsible for setting constitutional financial procedures. Okay. So if the constitutional procedure puts it there that if the money is in the bank for local government that federal government has set there, the governor does not have the right to appropriate or use that money. It is the NFIU that is saddled with the responsibility to say who can have access to that and sanction the bank. If you recall, the NFIU was one of the agencies that was very instrumental into explaining the suspension of the former CBN governor at some point. So they have very, you know, important roles to play when it comes to the implementation of the Constitution as regards financial procedures. So it's the political will. For example, the TSA has always been there. It was something that the World Bank had advised that Nigeria should do at some particular time. But there was no political will to fully implement it. There was a pilot of the idea, you know, at some point, and then we left it. The former dispensation left it there until President Buhari, you know, became the president and had the political will and power to say we must, implement this. So this, like I said, is not a completely new rule, but are we going to have enough political will to get the government? Because there's a governors forum and they are quite formidable. If the governors forum come together, and they can put pressure on the president, as you already know, the Nigerian president is arguably the most constitutionally powerful president in the world. So they can put pressure on the president and then will not have enough political will to see this through. So what's just going to happen is that we're just going to wake up one day and still know, and we'll find out that, oh, the state governors are still controlling it and then nobody's making it. Because at the end of the day, the head of the NFIU was, appointed by the president.
Exactly.
So, but there's one thing we can do as activists is to put pressure. No government wants to be unpopular. So if all of us as citizens of Nigeria have agreed that this is a very important thing that must be implemented, then we must not keep quiet until this is fully implemented, because that's one of the ways that we can get this.
All right.
Now time for us to go a small break. When we come back, more Tori is still there on top of the table. South Africa Ramaphosa, they face obstacles to reform even with a decisive election victory for South Africa ruling party this week. The country president Cyril Ramaphosa still face struggle to push through the tough reforms where they need to motivate Africa's most developed economy. Now waiting analysts and some party insiders talk. The former union leader, we don't become business tycoon, don't promise to introduce major economic reforms and extend a crackdown on corruption if in African National Congress ANC party return go power in Wednesday national election. Ramaphosa allies talk say a result close to 60% for this week parliamentary vote, where some opinion polls suggest fit day possible, go strengthening in hand to deliver on those pledges. But some analysts and ANC party insiders, they're skeptical, say Ramaphosa go make much progress with reforms, even with a clear election victory. Victims from Mozambique, they call for more help in the aftermath of Cyclone Kenneth in the country northern coastal region of Pemba. Mozambique, they currently deal with the aftermath of Cyclone Kenneth. According by the country National Institute of Disaster Management, 38 people, 9 don't die for inside the matter, and more than 20,000 others don't they reportedly without shelter. The news will still continue after this chickeny break. The United Nations UN on Monday don't urge Israel and Palestine to de-escalate the latest violence where they are around the Gaza Strip. UN Secretary General Antonio Guterres don't condemn the launching of rockets from Gaza into Israel, particularly the targeting of civilian population centers over the weekend. He urged all parties make them exercise maximum restraint, immediately de-escalate and return to the understandings of the past few months. Dujarric tell press for the past year, the United Nations done they work hard to prevent the situations in Gaza from escalating and to provide humanitarian relief to the population. UN Special Coordinator Nikolay Ladenov, they go Cairo on Tuesday to continue in discussions with relevant parties.
He urged all parties to exercise maximum restraint, immediately de-escalate, and return to the understandings of the past few months. The latest escalation over the weekend was the worst since the 2014 conflict. Fortunately, following a series of engagements with Egypt, Qatar, and all concerned parties, we were able to contain it, based on understandings on the humanitarian situation in Gaza and the livelihoods of people, with no violence at the Gaza perimeter fence. It is now up to the parties to implement these understandings. If the calm is sustained, the United Nations believes that we will be able to discuss longer-term arrangements to improve the situation and provide relief for the people of Gaza by easing the closures and supporting the reconciliation process.
Top diplomats from the United States, Russia, and other nations will get border for the Arctic on Tuesday, May 7, don't meet for Finland to discuss policies where they govern the polar region. U.S. Secretary of State Mike Pompeo talks say Russia they behave aggressively in the Arctic, and China actions for there need close marking as well, for middle of growing divisions for the polar region over global warming and access to minerals. Countries on the scramble to claim territory or, like China, boost their presence for the region as melting ice they raise the possibility of exploiting much of the world's remaining undiscovered reserves of oil and gas, plus huge deposits of minerals such as zinc, iron, and rare earth metals.
America's new Arctic focus prioritizes close cooperation with our partners on emerging challenges, including the increased presence and ambitions of non-Arctic nations in the region. The Trump administration shares your deep commitment to environmental stewardship. In fact, it's one reason Chinese activity, which has caused environmental destruction in other regions, continues to concern us in the Arctic. The Arctic has always been a fragile ecosystem, and protecting it is indeed our shared responsibility. But once again, the keys are indeed trust and responsibility.
Coming up next, Nawatori for Inside Business. The chairman of the Whistleblowers Network, Dr. George Ubo, don release documents where they allege massive fraud for the Central Bank of Nigeria, CBN. Dr. Ubo, as they follow pressman Yan for Abuja, talks a forensic evidence don reveal the CBN shortchanged the public over several billions where they make during transactions with bureau de change operators to the tune of over 230 billion naira. He said the funds they undeclared at the Federation Allocation Accounts Committee, and then they challenged the CBN to come dispute this claim.
In 2017, CBN confirmed to have sold forex to Bureau de Change BDCs at 4 different locations across the Federation, namely Lagos, Kano, Abuja, and Awka. The Apex Bank further confirmed that a total of $4.1 billion was sold to the BDCs in 2017, distributed as follows: Lagos, 2.3 billion, Kano, 833.5 million, Abuja, 621.5 million, Awka, 360.4 million. Despite the Apex Bank selling forex to the BDCs at the rate of 360 naira to 381 naira per dollar in 2017, it never declared more than 304 to 305 naira per dollar. This inflicted a loss of over 232 billion naira, which is $760 million, to FAC. You all know what FAC is. In 2017, from the forex sales to BDCs alone. As a matter of fact, this represents exchange gains which should have been disclosed to FAC, but CBN chose to conceal it. This has been a painstaking investigation. People have put their lives at stake, and from today, I am daring Godwin Emefiele to come out and call me a liar, to come out or go to police station or EFCC to file complaint against me for malicious whatever law he wants to, malicious slander, whatever, because I am standing by the documents I have.
Still ahead on Plus TV Africa News, now a roundup on entertainment and sports story. We they come back. Wendy Williams and estranged husband Kevin Hunter don't file for him the response to Wendy divorce petition, and they demand say make the TV host pay him both spousal and child support. According by reports, it won't make Wendy pay the bill for their son college expenses, and they demand make she pay up in both permanent and rehabilitative alimony, as well as in legal fees. He filed the documents for a Pennsylvania court where he been demand equitable distribution of all personal assets, both real and personal, where they legally and beneficially acquired during the marriage. Them say Kevin been the cheat after rumors of impregnating his mistress, Sharina Hudson. That's now what we get for entertainment. Coming up next, Natori for Inside Sports. American qualifier Taylor Fritz don knock out Grigor Dimitrov in 2 tiebreakers 7-6, 10-8 and 7-6, 7-4 to reach the second round of the Madrid Masters, while the women's defending champion Petra Kvitova don brush aside Kristina Mladenovic 6-3, 7-6 to move into the third round. Make we show una the highlights of their match.
Well, please.
That wasn't a bad serve. Mladenovic going in tight, but Petra did well to fend it off with the backhand return, and from that point, Petra was in control.
More in control. She's hitting the ball so fast, so hard. I mean, Mladenovic has barely time to put the racket on it.
Kvitova on an 8-2 run. Boom.
Oh, she's loving this. Mladenovic, huge opportunity.
Oh, and the return just too good. And Mladenovic can only swat.
Petra Kvitova got the aim for her 4th Madrid Open crown after when she won the tournament for 2011, 2015 and 2018. Una do well that now the join story where we get on top this o'clock. For more better informate, go follow us for Plus TV Africa on Instagram, Facebook and Twitter. And it will make sense if you follow us, subscribe on top our YouTube page at Plus TV Africa. We go still jam later with more story where they do bagan for Inside with Obodo Naija and Obodo World. Don't forget to join us. My name na Bettiana Onweli. Make una get a very kaja day.
As always, here on North 95 Show, we feature individuals who are making tremendous strides in different spheres of life away from their chosen careers. Today, we are in Ajegunle to speak with Lucy Akedu, an economist turned community developer and a special girls advocate. She has left the world of economy, so to speak, to give back to the society and to the community she has known and lived in.
My name is Ogechi Lucy Akedu, the project director of Face of Ajegunle, lead model Olusi Brands, and also the project director of King and Queen of the Mainland. A little about myself. I'm a young girl that was born and brought up in Ajegunle. I still live in Ajegunle, and I love music, I love dancing. I like interacting with people, I like meeting people, I like teaching people, I like grooming young girls, and I love makeup too. My educational background, I am an economist by profession. I studied economics in Alvan Ikoku Federal College of Education, and I graduated in 2010. I've had some couple of working experience, and you know how it is to work for someone. It wasn't really my thing, so I had to drop it and venture into what I'm doing right now, and I'm enjoying it. Growing up in Ajegunle has also helped me build myself, because if you can live in Ajegunle, you can live anywhere else in the world. So how it all started for me was when I was still in the university. When I was in year 1 in school, someone walked up to me and the person was like, "Hey, you look cool." I was very slim then, so "You look cool, you can feature for Miss Alvan since 2007, and I'm like, I never really wanted to do modeling. Acting was my first love. But then it was two or 3 days to the grand finale in school then, and then I picked up the form, joined them, and lo and behold, I was crowned the queen of my campus. I was crowned Miss Alvan 2007. So I thought that in 2009, I got a form for Miss Heartland, which is Miss Imo State. And from there, when I came back home for holidays, and I was thinking that, okay, I think I could do something like this in my community. They don't do this around Ajegunle, they don't do this in Ajegunle at all, but we see people do Miss Surulere, Miss this, Miss that, but it has never been done in Ajegunle. So from 2009, I started nursing that idea that I started meeting people, talking to people, but I was in my 3rd year then in school. So going back to school and coming back and all of that, so I had to drop it totally when I rounded up from school, and I just worked in few places. But in 2014, the idea came up again, and I'm like, oh, I think this is the right time to go into this. Before then, I've been doing some ushering jobs and all of that. I started thinking of going into that line again. Okay, build my own. Instead of ushering for people, I can build girls and train girls and then take them out for ushering, plan people's event and all of that. And then the idea of organizing Miss Ajegunle came again. So we started planning, putting things in order. Initially, I just wanted to do a show because all I've seen in school, in Owerri and all of that was just, okay, they gather girls, they train them on catwalk, they train them on some few etiquettes and all of that. So I wanted to let me just do this thing and see how it goes. And then it was really tough in the first year. It was really, really tough. It wasn't easy at all. We managed to pull the first edition. It wasn't really easy. It was so tough that at a point I wanted to give up. I went to my mom and I told her, "Mommy, I have to return their registration fee to all the contestants, and I just want to travel. I'm not doing it again." And my mom said, "No, what you have started, you would continue." There was no money, there was nobody to help out and all of that. And then you go to the local government, they'll keep telling you, "Come today, come tomorrow, come today, come tomorrow." It was tiring, it was frustrating. So with the help of my mom's support, she would withdraw her money, her salary, and give to me and tell me, "Okay, what are the things that are remaining? What and what do you need?" And then I'll tell her, "I need to print this, I need to do that, I need to do that." And then she will give me some money. With her support and all of that, we were able to manage it till the end. Sheila was there in the first season. He actually anchored the first season. And after the event, he asked for my account number and sent in some money. I've never seen a comedian or an artist that does that. We're supposed to be paying him, but the reverse was the case. So It was so beautiful, and then Signature Initiative was part of it, though they didn't start with us from beginning. They came in some few weeks to the grand finale, but they were able to put in their support and all of that. And then 2015 came by. A lot of people thought, after the whole stress, I wasn't going to think about doing it, but because of the love and passion I have for it, so I went to meet the team leader, Olaima Opara, team leader Signature Initiatives, and then I told him, I'm here again, I want to do Face of Ajegunle. And the first thing he told me was that they're not going to come on board except I make it an institution. And I was confused a bit, like, an institution, do you want us to build a school? Do you want us to build a university? I don't get. Can you shed more light? So he just tip, and I just followed. And then Signature Initiative that manages Face of Ajegunle now had to rebrand the whole structures and systems of what we do with Face of Ajegunle. So they started by changing the logo. They started by creating the faculty system. That's what we call the faculty, where the girls come every weekend for their trainings, because we train them on a whole lot of skills. So it wasn't like the first season where we just had a show. It now became an institution that trains young girls to become better, to become useful in the community. So they learn leadership and attitude trainings. Signature Initiative had to employ the facilitators that handles all of those classes, the weekend classes and all. They learn leadership and attitude. They learn dress ethics and poise, how to dress, how to carry themselves. They learn makeup, they learn Ankara bags and accessories, they learn event decoration, they learn speech and phonetics, they learn grammar, they learn a whole lot. It's not about what you get as a prize, like when you become the crown face. It's about what you learn through the process of becoming better, of becoming a better you outside. So after the whole contest and all, when we finally crowned winner, at least everybody gets something, like everybody gets a handwork that can be useful for them. And we've got a whole lot of testimonies. Like in 2015, one of the contestants who contested, they learned Ankara bags and accessories that period. The parents were divorced and the mother traveled back to Bayelsa, the dad went his way and all of that. She was just left with her and her younger siblings. They were about to throw them out of the house, but it was the Ankara bag she learned in Face of Ajegunle that she was making and selling, and then she was able to pay her house rent. And currently the Crown Face of Ajegunle 2017 now makes beautiful clothes. She actually made her dinner dress she wore on the grand finale of 2018. She got that training through Face of Ajegunle in 2017 through one of our friends, who is a designer, Signature. So she trained her for 6 months for free. A training that would have cost her about 120,000 naira. She learned that skill for free because she was the crown face of Ajegunle. And today she makes a whole lot of nice wares, nice clothes, and she makes money for herself and for her family. And then we do a lot of community projects. So we've done Feed a Beggar projects. This year, 2018, we visited the prison as a female prison in 2016. Those are part of the pet projects the girls had to do. We visit the motherless baby home because we want to teach them how to give back to the community, not just learning and making money. How do you now give back to the community too that has trained you, that has built you over the years? So they do a whole lot of pet projects too. They feed the beggars, they clean the environment, they do a whole lot of stuff. Okay, about the negative impression, the negative notion about Ajegunle, it has been there from onset. It has been there from time. When we wanted to start Face of Ajegunle, it wasn't easy. At the point, someone was asking me, why do you want to do Face of Ajegunle? Why Ajegunle? Are you not tired of that place? Can't you leave that place? And when I was in school, I remember people always asking me where I stay in Lagos, and I'm so quick to tell them Ajegunle. And some of my friends that forms will be like, Lucy, you know the form. If they ask you where you stay, don't tell them Ajegunle, tell them you stay Surulere and all of that. And I'll be like, I cannot deny where I stay. I was born and brought up in Ajegunle. The name Ajegunle really affected what we were doing at a time. Like, people didn't really want to attach to the project, or because they believe Ajegunle is known for notorious acts and all of that. So what we're doing with First of Ajegunle is trying to change the narrative, making people believe that great things could come out of Ajegunle. We've been doing this for 5 good years, and it's been awesome. It's been tremendous. Like, people are now interested to want to associate with what we are doing. People want to know, oh, how can I be of support? How can I be of help? How can I do this? How can I do that? What we do is trying to bring out the girls from the streets also. There are a whole lot of stuff happening in Ajegunle, but then we're trying to see how we can change their mindset. Sometimes we take them out of the Ajegunle community, we camp them somewhere, and then we bring in people to talk to them, to change their mentality, to teach them 1 or 2 things and the like. So I think with the little we're doing, we'll get there someday. The first thing people tell me when they first heard that I left the world of economics to do this is like, why you know, people have the idea of that modeling is somewhat, I don't know how to say it, like prostituting, or I don't know, people have this notion that when you say you're a model, they just see you as a prostitute. So especially my dad. My dad wasn't really in support. He was, every day my dad would tell me, you are in Israel, you are disgracing my family. But today he's the one being like, when you call him to talk to him and ask him about what his daughter is doing, he's so excited to even tell it to the world that, oh yeah, she's doing good and I'm proud of her, because he has seen it over the years that what we're doing is just trying to help these girls out of the streets, to build them up and the likes. Yeah, so it wasn't easy convincing people, but yeah, most times people think they're just selling these girls and all of that. But what we're doing is trying to build a decent pageant. What we do is a decent pageant. They don't wear bikini, they don't expose themselves anyhow, they don't wear nude clothes and all of that. We don't do bikini, we don't do swimsuits, it's just decency. We preach and teach decency. It's a community development project that has over time built and trained a lot of girls, over 5,000 girls since we started. So if you train 1 girl, you're training 10 girls. You train 10 girls, you're training 100 girls. You train 100 girls, you're training 1,000 girls. We're building the community, we're helping the community grow with the skills we're impacting in them. So with time, they're going to be transforming their world in their own little way. Okay, my source of motivation is seeing these girls get better every day. When I wake up in the morning and I don't feel like doing anything, and then the thought of, oh, if you don't do anything or take a step today, there may be 1 girl out there that is going the wrong way that you need to talk to, that you need to change, that you need to impact in. And then I just get up and say, okay, I have to do this because of the love I have for the community, because of the passion I have for the community. That's why I keep keeping. The major challenges is finance. And finance basically, but right now we've started gaining influence, like people want to come on board, companies, individuals, organizations want to come on board. I think Olaima Opara, the lead person at Signature Initiatives that manages Face of Ajegunle, will always say we should build this project, that we shouldn't sort for any sponsorship, that we should build it to an extent that people and brands will start sorting after us. How we got to this point where people started sorting after us, I remember Olaima Opara of I Am Signature, the lead person, at Signature Initiative, he will always tell me, and we don't have to sort after people. Let's build this system to the extent where people and organizations will sort out for us, will start sorting after us. And then over the years, I think we've built it to an extent where people don't just have a choice than to just sort after us. Like, what you people are doing is tremendous, is wonderful. Please, I like to be part of it. I want to partner with you. They've seen all we've been doing over the years. They've seen pictures, they've seen videos, they've seen testimonies, they've seen true life testimonies, and they've seen these girls grow from nothing to something, from worse to becoming better, and from worse to becoming good. So I think that's how we've built it over the years, that is making people and companies want to be a part of us.
What's important about how Lucy goes about what she's doing is the energy and the passion to which she shows love to these girls. She's been putting too much effort improving girls in Ajegunle. She has become a new model, a new standard, a new emulation mechanism or measurement for how the Ajegunle girls should be.
Would I take another 9-to-5 job? No, it's a big no for me. No. This is not your regular 9-to-5. This is my life. My name is Ogechi Lucy Akedu, Project Director, Face of Ajegunle, lead model, Olusi brand.
And still on the show, we move to our next stop to meet Kemi Lewis. Guess what is in the park today? She is a lawyer, but left the wig and gown to become a hairstylist, and not just the general hairstyling, but natural hairstylist. Shall we meet her?
My name is Kemi Lewis. I am the creative director of KLS Natural Beauty Bar, and as I like to tell everybody, I am a lawyer turned natural hairstylist. I studied law, got called to the bar in January 2001. I have been, 17 years at the bar now. That's scary to actually say out loud, but yes. I worked in a property consultancy and a law firm for a couple of years, then went to the UK to get my master's in international business transactions, and I came back and I worked in a company called Lagos Channel Management. I worked as their company secretary for about 5 years. Everybody thought I was crazy, truthfully, and not just that, because I had said natural hair, and then they were like, okay, sorry, not only are you going to open a salon, it's not even going to be a regular salon, you're just going to be focusing on natural hair. And people didn't get it, because they thought, okay, clearly you are on the path to just fail. Everybody thought I was mad. Everybody thought I had lost my mind. Everybody thought I was going through a crisis. Everybody thought I was going through something. My mom thought surely my daughter has something is going on. My village people are after me. They want to do, how can she say she's leaving law to become a hairdresser? But deep in my heart, I knew I was on the right path. I had a conviction that even I didn't understand and I couldn't really put words to, but I just knew that what I had decided to do was the right thing to do, so I stuck to my guns. I was fascinated by the whole, natural hair, the natural curls, how our hair can have different textures and volume, and I used to experiment with different ingredients, different products, and make stuff myself. I moved back and I needed to start something. I needed to start a business. I knew I wanted to start my own business. I just wasn't sure what it was I wanted to start. During a brainstorm session with a really good friend of mine, and she said, you've always known how to do hair. You've gone natural. Why don't you just start a natural hair salon? And that was how the seed was planted. So once it was planted, there was no stopping me. The next thing was, okay, where are we going to have the location? I would get in my car and I'll just drive around looking for empty spaces until I came upon this empty shop one. I was like, oh yay, this is it. When I realized that this was happening, this being the business, I then decided that, you know what, I was going to be deliberate and intentional and start to get actual skills that I needed. So I had this lady who, this American lady that was in a salon somewhere on VI, and I called her up and said, you know, I met her at a show somewhere, and we came to an agreement where I would go to her house and she would just show me stuff, show me the different things that, you know, I could do in terms of twists, flat twists, just styling. She just, you know, put me through a few things, and of course there was YouTube, and there were all sorts of online things that I could look at and learn from. And then I would go to trade shows and just watch stylists work. Getting staff to buy into the vision. I remember I had 2 staff to start with, a guy and a lady. And the guy, he did not understand what I was about. He thought, he was another person that thought I was crazy, basically. And I was always, Auntie, let's just relax here now. Ah, you mean we won't do relaxer? You mean we won't do weave-on? You mean we won't do this? You know, and because, I mean, it's a new business. Not only is it a new business, it's a new business in an emerging or in brand new industry, you know, a new market. And so it was slow to begin. So what he would do is he would literally go outside when, you know, there were no customers or anything. He would go outside and literally stand, tapping his foot and looking around, you know, and just making me even more nervous. So, you know, trying to get people to buy into the vision that, look, yes, natural hair may sound strange to you, but it's something that, you know, is something. It will become something. So just be patient and let's do this together. He didn't last with me more than 3 weeks. That's for you. Sacrifices, so many, a lot of sacrifices, a lot of nights where I could have been out having fun and letting my hair down, but I was grinding and grinding. I mean, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, where, you know, most people are chilling, going to the beach, going to a party. There was always work was calling me. Plenty moments where I wanted to quit. It's one thing being a business owner. It's another thing being a business owner in Nigeria. Nigeria can be such a jungle in a lot of respects. You're doing your water, you're doing your generator, you're buying your diesel, you're taking care of your waste. Then on top of that, you have human capital issues that you're dealing with. And then you have, you know, all these agencies that are coming after you to get this and get that. So it can be a bit daunting. Fantastic moments. I remember getting a call to style Chimamanda for UK Vogue. That was a fantastic moment, that for sure. And then I remember actually seeing the Vogue edition and seeing my name in print in UK Vogue, Hair by Kemi Lewis of Careless Naturals. I was like, ah! I was like a banshee. I literally was screaming and jumping around my living room. Ooh, proudest business achievements. I would say definitely starting from almost nothing and building up to where we are today, where we have 2 locations, more than 20 staff. We have structures. I can afford to take a holiday. Any weird hair things that I do? I've used potato water before, yeah, to try and stimulate growth. So I've done onions and garlic infusion in the oil and all sorts of things. So, but this is back in the day when I had plenty of time on my hands. Some of the strangest questions I've been asked about hair. If I wash my relaxed hair with Omo, will it turn to natural hair? If I wash my relaxed hair with beer, will it turn to natural hair? If I pour stouts into my relaxed hair, will it turn to natural hair? If I mix Omo and some beer and pour it into my hair, will it turn to natural hair? And the answer has always been no, 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 and most definitely no. None of that is going to